Hey guys, Angra here. So, this weekend I had the opportunity to jump into Ashes of Creation's Alpha 2 for the very first time, and I thought it'd be cool to share my experience from the first couple of days. I'll admit, I was rather skeptical while loading in for the very first time. I fully expected a buggy, if not unplayable experience, and for the first several minutes, it seemed like I was right. I spawned into Linehold and immediately noticed a crowd of players just running in place. Within moments, I got booted off the server due to some pretty brutal desync issues. I was close to calling it quits for the night, but then I decided to give it another shot on a less populated server, and I'm glad I did. On my first day I knew exactly what I wanted to try out, the node system, so I headed straight to an empty node. Once there, I dived into my artisan skills, chopping down trees, gathering stone, and trying to contribute experience to develop the node. Now, this process was a lot more time consuming than I anticipated. I found myself spending hours working on my lumberjack and mining skills, just seeing how the node progressed bit by bit. Even though it was time intensive, it was super satisfying to feel like my efforts were tangibly contributing to the world around me. On the second day, I shifted my focus a bit to see how personal progression leveling worked. Now, I'll be honest, coming from other MMOs that are more solo friendly, I was in for a bit of a learning curve. Questing and grinding mobs solo didn't feel very efficient, and relying solely on artisan skills wasn't cutting it either. So I had to experiment a bit. That's when I decided to try points of interest and events in the game, which are basically the world quests. This system really stands out in a game like Ashes of Creation. These events are designed so naturally that you're bound to run into other players tackling the same objectives. It made teaming up feel easy and organic, which is a refreshing change from other MMOs. I'm a huge fan of this, and I'm really hoping that Intrepid continues to expand on it as development goes on. By the final day, I wanted to try out something a little different, so I decided to test the caravan system. Now, while I think this system has massive potential, I'll admit that it feels a bit limited at the moment. Right now, materials are easy to find across the map, so transporting goods via caravan doesn't feel as essential as it probably will in the final game. But even in its current state, I find the caravan gameplay incredibly fun. There's something thrilling about escorting a caravan from one node to another, figuring out routes to dodge mobs and the occasional detour for a questionable shortcut. Overall, I'm optimistic about the system's potential and look forward to seeing how it will evolve in future phases. So that wraps up my initial experiences testing Ashes of Creation's Alpha 2. Despite some early bumps in the road, I was genuinely impressed by how the game is shaping up to be. From contributing to node progression, tackling dynamic world events, and escorting caravans across dangerous zones, it's clear there's a lot of depth here. Thanks for tuning in, and if you're as excited as I am about this game's potential, make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more updates as I continue diving into this alpha. See you in the next one.